After some difficulties finding my way to Kyoto, I finally arrived there. So glad that I did. Hi. Konnichiwa. I booked hostel for 2 nights.
2 nights. You have a passport?
Yes, I do. Just arrived at the second case hostel here, and we've got a bar. And seems to be a nice hostel. I'm totally convinced that Case House is actually one of the best hostel chains I've ever seen. And I've been to about 20 hostels so far in my world trip. Well, let me just take you to some of the spots. So we've got some guests here, they just cooked some Chinese food. 你做的饭叫什么名字? That's best guest ever. We've got a terrace here. We've got a nice view. Look at that. So a lot of houses in Kyoto are very traditional. They look like ancient Chinese structures from the Warring States period. I believe that they took it and it just got stuck in here in Japan. Check out this lobby, it's huge. So we're just enjoying some wine here at the lobby of Case House in Kyoto. I have to say it's one of the most chilly place ever I have stayed in. So you've got a bar here, which is also open to the public. I'm just going to get a breakfast here at Case House. It's only 500 yen. I want to take an order.
Yeah, sure. Have 3 kind of breakfast.
Okay, I get this one. I just really hope that I don't get to eat this every day. I got enough of it at university in London. Crappiest food ever. Let me take you to some interesting sites in Kyoto. Instead of talking generically about sites in Japan, which you can find anywhere on YouTube, I'm trying to figure out a way to make it interesting enough and unique enough. So please tell me some feedback. You can see behind me is an architecture that is quite common in the ancient way how Japanese people build their houses. The reason for it to point upwards is because it's supposed to drive away ghosts. It is a custom in Japan to take off your shoes before you go to a Buddhist temple. In front of the temple, you take one of those plastic bags, you put your shoes inside, and then you go up the temple. In every major temple, you get these donation boxes, and they have these ribbed kind of wooden sticks in there. So you put money into it, throw it inside, and then you clap your hands 3 times, I believe, and you make a wish, you bow. Then after that, you just go inside the temple and meditate. This is made out of paper. I could totally poke it. Just imagine the faces of the Japanese monks if I actually did that. This will be an ultimate test of their level of enlightenment and serenity. A Lego version of Kyoto Station. That music just really mesmerized me. Not a lie. Tears came out of my eyes, slowly, with the memory of a Japanese girl I met 9 years ago in Cambridge University. I met her in Japan after so many years, and we used to dance keili. The feeling was a mixture of pain and pleasure, addictive in its nature, but liberating when it passes. Please, you need to help me to find out the name of this music. I really need to know. Well, that was quite an emotional fuzz, but I just had to get it out there. Next up, we have some must-visit sites of Kyoto. My selfie stick can be easily taken as one of those flags of the tourist groups. Maybe I should become a tour guide. Entering the Tofukuji, which is a temple, a Buddhist temple, where I think it's Buddhist, let me check. Yes. Seems to be a very busy day today because we have groups after groups after groups of tourists. I guess mostly from China, from what I hear. The reason why I entered this temple is because I saw it on Lonely Planet and it has a very high review. This is the most beautiful autumn leaf garden I have been to in my life. It's as though the entire garden has been painted by an artist. Just imagine yourself being here with no one in it except for you and your girl. It must be the most perfect romantic setting ever. Better than riding a horse through Mongolia, I would say. Although, riding through Mongolia on a horse is pretty good. This garden is just meticulous. Look at the stone floor. I think they are using some kind of brush to make it look like that way. Here's your Japanese lesson 101. How do you spell Li?
No, it is not Li. It is
How do you pronounce it?
Y-U-R-I. So
Exactly.
it is Yuri.
Yuri. Okay, you got that? Right. So it's not Li, it's not L-I, right? So the sound is a bit different. Japan is important for me. It gives me a glimpse of what ancient China, my heritage, used to be in its most glorious times. It's as though Japan captured the best of ancient China with a living digital camera and 3D printed everything for all of us to wonder at. Okay, enough of John's emotional bullshit. Let's go to the next site. Just arrived at Fushimi Inari, which is a famous temple in Japan. This is me writing down my deepest wishes: to go to Mars, to give birth to a Martian baby, and to be a starship captain. Yes, I'm a Trekkie, and I'm proud of it, and you need to deal with that. There are just so many gates here, and each of which is sponsored by a particular big company in Japan. According to my sources, each of them costs about $10,000 to $20,000. So this entire street is actually one of the most valuable real estate in the world. This is the year when it is made. That is the company's name. I just love those little kids with their lovely caps. There is a feel of corporate identity here. They can even talk in sync. It's almost perfect. Would you like to sponsor one of those gates in order to remain throughout prosperity? Please comment down here and tell us what you think. Actually, the cool thing that I would like to do here was to do phylactics and actually run across this path to the top. As you can see, it's impossible here. There's too many people. I just wandered off a couple of 100 meters away from the gates, and literally there's nobody here. Off the beaten path is the best during your travel. I believe that there is a plant here that is kind of tropical. The interesting thing I find in Japan is that there are places which are packed, but when you just go off a little bit further, as in 200 meters, there's nobody. I went to London to study physics. In my last year, I started my own company. The first time ever where I actually made some profit. When I was younger, I studied at school actually. I already made several small companies. After you get paid by your customer directly, you can never turn back. It's impossible to become an employee again. Well, 2 years into my company, I figured out that I could build an online business that makes me geographically independent. So I did and started a world travel. I began with China. I went to the north of China. After that, I came to Japan, which is the most amazing country I've ever been. I mean, the people are very, very kind. So instead of talking too much about my history, I would like to focus on here and now. Because honestly speaking, we should not own our past. The reason why I'm doing this and share my story is because I would like to tell everyone that it's not important what your past is. The important thing is actually to live in the here and now. Don't plan for the next steps. Usually what I do is I go to a city which is close by and ask locals about the most important sites. Then I go to visit those sites, and on the last day of my stay, mostly in a hostel, I would decide spontaneously where to go. And usually the best things happen when you spontaneously do things. In this case, you probably would say, oh no, I have to go to A and I don't have time for you. You see, so that's something that I discovered. It's not really good. So I tend not to plan too much. I have goals, but I don't plan the particular time and the pace of getting there. I believe that happiness is a skill that everyone can learn and everyone can hone, and that you actually can lose when you don't practice it. It's almost like going to the gym. So imagine yourself going to the gym of life and you train how to be happy on a daily basis. So when you don't actually exercise the muscle of happiness, you actually lose it. Out of nowhere pops up this street, which is amazing. It takes you back to ancient Japan, a place where geishas perform. Believe it or not, I actually met a geisha. This is a real geisha. Sumimasen. Watashi wa John desu. Anata. When you happen to meet a geisha in Japan, usually what happens is that she will tell you that it's only allowed to take one picture with them. I took more than one. The rooftop is actually made out of steel. Pretty cool. I pretty much broke every rule there is for this street. Every day I've seen some new stuff in my life I've never seen before. Well, here it comes again. A rosary towel. I mean, they're always white, always in Japan. And it's the first time I've seen this. I just had one of the best noodles in town here. What's the shop called? Check this out. Exactly. Welcome to the Imperial Palace of Kyoto. Every single garden I have been to, if it is public, it's immaculate. Today was an extremely busy day in Fushimi Inari. However, just a few hours later I came here in the Imperial Palace and it seems that it's quite empty actually. I'm wondering why this is the case. But, you know, I'm not complaining, kind of enjoying it right now. It's gonna be the last station today for me. And tomorrow I'll hit another 1 or 2 sites and then going to head for Osaka. I'm just amazed at the sheer beauty of this tree. I would continue this for a long time, and I would like to take you, my fans, to the most amazing places and to share with you the most amazing stories that I can ever find. Please let me know what you would like to see in the comments. I would make sure that it will be done. And finally, let me show you what it is actually like to produce that video that you're watching right now. It is customary, fuck, how do you say that word? Customary. It is a custom of Japan to take off shoes before you go to the end. It is custom.